Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to what will be a different kind of video as we kind of want to do, or I want to do my final thoughts um, of The Evil Within 2. We're back with Sebastian Castellanos, and, just a man who's been through a lot. If you played the first one, he's been through hell, going through STEM, um, which was like something that the group Mobius has done. I'm not going to go into crazy in depth of the story, but literally just the general gist of it is they're trying to connect minds together as unity. No more fear, no more pain. We all live as one, and all that stuff. Mobius is some all-powering group, and yeah, a lot of shit goes on, especially in the first one. But we'll talk about the beginning. Sebastian is upset because he could not save his daughter, which, if you play the first one, it does reference that in one of the books or journal entries of Sebastian, his daughter died in a fire, as well as the nanny, um, as well as his wife, Myra, which we'll get to a little bit more down the road, went on to try to figure out, thinking that it was more than just a fire, that there was some sort of job behind it, wasn't just an electrical fire. Kidman, who was part of Mobius, which you kind of figure out in the first one, eventually shows up out of the shadows of Mobius to find Castellanos, pretty much to tell him that Lily is alive and that they had her. Um, I think there was some DLC in the first one. I mean, the DLC in the first one, as far as I remember, does show Kidman as Mobius or with Mobius and all that stuff. You learn that she is an agent, I think. Um, as well as I think you learn Myra's a part of Mobius, but I'm not too sure because again, I have not played the DLC. I just remember looking into it, but I think it was very stealth heavy, and I wasn't really in the mood to play it because really the first one the first one I didn't care much to do stealth, and with this game being on the rise to wanting to get to it really quick, um, yeah. But I just wanted to get to this faster, so I didn't really want to do DLC and stuff like that. But as you see here, Sebastian, even he probably would have willingly joined after some time, but because of the dire situation, um, they really just kind of have to force their hand and get to him. So, or get him to go, whether he likes it or not. And then in this next part, we do see that STEM pretty much is still a thing, even after all the stuff with Ruvik. They're still trying at this whole unity thing. I don't know, try to get us together. Eventually, Sebastian, though without much choice, uh, goes into STEM. We learned that Lily is the core of this STEM. Apparently, she made a very great, I don't know, some amazing thing for it, I guess, because of her young personality or her mind or whatever, her brain. It was just, I don't know, it was the perfect fit for the whole thing to hold so many different personalities in other people's minds. Um, so at the start of the game, we're pretty much just thinking, all right, we're going to go in and get Lily, get out. It shouldn't be that bad. The place should still be somewhat held together. But, knowing that what we're about to play and that this is a video game, of course, it's not going to be that simple. But, that thought process, like, all right, how bad could shit be? I mean, unless you watched the trailer and saw the stuff, you knew that this was just not going to be, easy. But in the beginning, we do get to see kind of entering STEM through a different perspective. Unlike the first one where we were just kind of there. I don't know we actually got into STEM, if it was way before even Beacon, and what was real and what was not. I don't know. Like, well, I mean, all of it was like not real, but I mean, like, leading up to that call of the homicide and going to Beacon Hospital, were we actually out of STEM at that point, or and then got into it, or were we out? I don't know. I kind of lost track at that beginning. The beginning was kind of all over the place in the first one, but enough. We'll stop talking about the first because we are on to the Evil Within 2. So lots to talk about. Not really. I don't have anything written down. This is going to be kind of just up in the air. We'll see how this goes. So right off the bat, we learned we're not doing the whole weird hospital thing like we did in the first one, because we're not in Beacon, we're not in that creepy asylum hospital thing, whatever the hell it was with Tatiana. We are in a place called Sebastian's room, my room, whatever you want to call it, kind of our little basic hub area. Um, where in the beginning it's just kind of like a projection slide. There's some info on the other STEM members that are or Mobius members that are in here, but I guess this is like our little safe haven, like kind of literally the only place, really. I should say it's only place that you can kind of take a breather. Though, because the game, just as the first one, will keep you literally tense the entire time, and it's just you're just like, oh my god, a moment to relax, but then you're ready to jump right back into hell. So, you know, at least we had a hub area. We kept that going for us, so that was nice. The place where we could get our green gel, um, and other things. As we get to it. So right off the bat, we kind of meet one of our first antagonists, which in the beginning of the game we believe to probably be the main antagonist of the game, mainly because he seems to have all this crazy control of slowing down time with his pictures and stuff like that. We also see that there is a covering system in this game, a little bit interesting. Um, the game is definitely a lot more open than the first one. If you've not seen it or done anything with it, the game is much more open. There are little side missions. There's not a ton. It's not like a crazy like RPG-esque, like, oh my god, there's like 100 side missions. But there are side things that could help you, benefit you, and might even give you some good reward to keep you surviving in this. But at the cost, you may have to spend some of your own resources to do it. Now, at the time of me playing this entire game through, I was on the hard difficulty. So ammo was very scarce. You barely, like, at least in the beginning, there was like no ammo drops. I think for the most part, they introduce a crafting system and things like that into the game. And that's where also in the beginning of the hub area, you have a workbench and things like that to craft. I think that was a very interesting thing to add to it, and I think it made, I don't know, it was a good excuse to not give you as many bullet drops, like how to spread out bullets, because they could just throw gunpowder wherever and weapon parts to upgrade your weapons and the gel to, give you points and stuff like that. So I don't know. I actually didn't mind the crafting. It definitely put more like stress on me with this harder difficulty, because I was like, well, shit, there's like no bullets, and my stealth abilities are terrible, and stealth was a very, very big factor into this game, at least compared to the first one, because there were just times I think where I didn't really do stealth all too much, and there was plenty of bullets. But then again, the first one I played on normal, so there's definitely a difference. But I wanted to get more of an authentic feel. That's why I did this harder difficulty. I didn't go into this thinking I have big balls. I want to try to survive and do the best I can. I went into this thinking, well, I don't want to have a guns blazing time. I want the full effect of survival horror. And it's not your typical horror as you think, oh, jump scares. It's horror in the sense of you're not strong, you're not overpowering. There are times where you just feel completely fucked. And I enjoyed those times. There were moments where I did get frustrated. And but for the most part, I still had a. But then we're gonna move on though. There's this whole transcoder, or some weird, I forget what they actually call it. It was an interesting little feature to the game, to let you like view memories of other guys that were operatives in this, and just seeing different memories. It also helped you track. It was also a way to like track side missions, main missions, ammo, because you would get a reading on things. It was a pretty neat little thing. It wasn't like a very obnoxious thing. It was very simplified. It wasn't like I had to constantly hold it out. It wasn't something that was just over the top ridiculous. But I thought it was a pretty neat way to be like, hey, look, a side mission. As you saw the map, it is a pretty open part, at least for this opening chapter. There are sections of the game and chapters that are literally just an hour or two, not even. There are also very linear moments, but I don't mind that. They do a very good blend of open, linear, and there's so many different ways you can, or not like a ton, but there are different ways to approach a certain situation. And I don't know, I just had a blast like trying to explore this completely fucked up Union place, and just going to random locations because I was like, look, I need ammo, I need supplies. I may not have done that as much as other people, but I still thought it was cool to be like, well, God, I hope this building I'm going in's got supplies. I hope what I'm doing is worth it. And there was just so many enemies. There were just, there were your regular guys, but they did add some variety of different ones. Like this white fucking random bitch here that I'm about to go up and kill. Like, for some reason, she doesn't die in one stab. Now, granted, later on down the line, I have my own strat of dealing with these things. But it's like in the beginning, this was just fucking ridiculous. It was terrifying. Because you're like, what the fuck? What is she? Why does she survive all this? Um, but yeah, I was just like, what the fuck with this thing? And I always got irritated in the game at times when trying to fight. Um, because I couldn't aim, and it wasn't just, oh, I'm on a controller, I can't aim. I can't aim on mouse and keyboard, I can't aim on a controller. And because I was playing on this harder difficulty, there was no aim assist. I had no help. It was literally me trying. So when you watch the final boss fight, I literally cut out like 20 deaths on that final fight because I literally kept fucking up. And at times with that, it was horrible. But I didn't let that final fight and my ability to suck at the game ruin my gaming experience. But you also saw just a moment ago before I killed her, she just suddenly lost me. It's not terribly difficult to lose the enemies, and sometimes they're kind of idiotic. Um, Granted, they have like no sense of anything besides hunger, feed, and rip you to shreds. So, guess it makes sense that if they just lose you, they just don't care. Um, but it felt at times that it was really easy to evade them. But I guess that's a good thing in some cases because there are just some fights you don't want to pick. It's like, I don't really want to exceed the ammo. Let's get the hell out of here. Another thing I thought that was interesting, and besides, just as a heads up, I know the recording audio for my mic might be a little different. It's because we're not using OBS. I'm doing some different way of doing this over the videos, and there's no like setting on my microphone, so it might sound a little shitty, and I apologize. The interesting thing was the little dialogue options to talk to people. I thought that was cool that you could ask some questions just to get more information if you were actually interested in it when you got the chance. Another neat thing that they did is safe houses. Besides, the whole Sebastian's room, there were safe houses in Union without going through the mirror to, you know, get your weapons upgraded, use the bench or whatever. Like right there, you got weapons parts, stuff like you can craft ammo, you can upgrade your gear, things like that. With my playthrough, I upgraded the pistol a shit ton. I know that some people may argue that maybe I should have upgraded some other guns. I shouldn't have just done pistol. Um, and my explanation for it was I'm looking back at different games, Resident Evil, any other survival horror game that has a gun usually gives you a shit ton of pistol ammo. I did in the first one where I upgraded my revolver a shit ton, and also I'm glad we didn't have the revolver. I know people may have liked it. I love revolvers, but I rather have a nice handgun like this one. So I just upgraded because it felt like that it would be cheaper to make the ammo, um, and also it'd just be, it'd be the one thing I might actually find more ammo for. So that's what I did for. That's why I did the pistol upgrade a ton. But I thought it was neat that there were some safe rooms in Union, different little sections to just like stop making things feel so tense. It may not have been anything like Sebastian's room, but you still felt like, okay, look, I could take a breather because there's just non-stop shit being thrown at you in this game. But also, since we're on our way to it in this wheelchair literally brings you back to the beacon place kind of thing for the chair, with Tatiana making a return, which was pretty neat. I think that was cool that they brought that, and they got the key thing again. Tatiana still sounds pretty emotionless. Not like that. I think that's just the whole point of the character. It's not like, oh, she just didn't suck at voice acting. It's just the way they portrayed her as this creepy, like, who the fuck is this person? Why is she helping? But whatever, are we really gonna complain and what shit fest we're in? But what I was gonna get into and what I really liked about this was the gel system in this one compared to the first one. Gel was a little bit more scarce, but then again, I may have not been looking at the right places. I wasn't picking fights with every single guy because they did every enemy drop gel. I liked how they did this one. There were perks, abilities, and things like that to get from them, and you did not spend your gel to upgrade your weapons or your stock or anything like that. If you remember in the first one, you could spend your gel to upgrade your pistol, your shotgun, your sniper rifle, whatever the hell you had, and you can also upgrade with the gel. The amount of items, or pretty much the amount of capacity of what you were holding, whether it was pistol, ammo, shotgun, the syringes, things like that. That was one of the things I kind of had annoying with the first one, so I was glad that they did that. Um, after I got this ambush perk, it really did make things a little bit easier if I played it right. I kind of used the stupidity of the AI for my advantage, or to my advantage, because it's like they would just lose you and I could hide a corner, stealth kill. There were some flaws for stealth kills that I found, and I'm not gonna like crazy edit all of this. Like there will be scenes and stuff, but I'm not gonna like go right to each scene to show you what I mean. Um, we'll just say that way down the line in the game, from what this scene is, towards the end of the game when the flamethrower guys show up, because this is already all spoiler. If you're watching this, I'm all done with the game, and you probably just want to know what the hell I think while discussing about the game. From a guy who knows what the fuck is he talking about. The flamethrower guys. I did sneak up into the back of one, and I literally tried to. I wanted to see if I could stealth kill. Not really kill, is more of like a wound. Like try to hurt them, because like the knife bitch, you stab her in the head, that just wounds her and you get pushed off. Or the big crazy fucking saggy acid spewing bitch. You can jump at her, stab her, and then be on your way and try again, or shoot her, but it doesn't kill. So I was expecting that, but no, there were some inconsistencies, and that was some of the problems. But with a game that didn't have that in the original, like I don't know if it had stealth kill around corners, but it didn't have a cover system really. It literally was just kind of crouch and hide. But still, it wasn't terrible. It did get annoying at times, but again, persevered through it, and just we kept going on our way.
Hoffman! Let's go! Get Billy! Hoffman, no!
I think one of the roughest things about the game, which I think in a sense you kind of expected it, is when I play these types of stories, single player games. Maybe I'm the only one. Maybe some other people do. I really try to get into like just some part of the emotion. What could this guy be thinking? Just trying to get emotionally attached, but not in a weird, creepy way. But like try to get attached in the sense of what I was, what would he be thinking? Though Sebastian probably didn't give that much of a shit to a lot of the operatives in Mobius for what they have done to his daughter, and look at what the fuck we're in. It still sucks that, like, you are tasked with, hey, look, if you find these guys, help them out. And practically right off the bat, one's dead. It was the team leader. O'Neill gets changed by the main protagonist, Jesus, the second out of the three antagonists in the game. And I didn't bring it up, but after the Stefano thing, there were three antagonists in this game. Besides Mobius stuff, I'm just talking within STEM at the time, or while we're in here. But it does suck, but it is nice that though these operatives may have not have actually truly cared about Lily in the way Sebastian does, that they were dedicated to the cause to help Sebastian, risking life and limb and all that stuff for them to die to help him. And I would think that emotionally for Sebastian, even though he's at probably the point of everything just broken mentally, I would think that in his head he has to be like depressed as fuck. Look, you Your wife's been gone. He has the only well at this point when Hoffman dies, he knows that his wife is in here and fucked up. Um, he's seen it after you kill. Was it Stefano? I said right. After you kill it, you learn Myra is one of the like a fucked up looking thing, but you don't really know if she's evil because she's just trying to keep Lily safe. But she already looks really evil, so it's like kind of given. The second antagonist in the game is Father Theodore. Apparently, he was an operative, a high-ranking person in Mobius, who went in and he wants to control Mobius, and the way to do it is control it through STEM. And then the final antagonist is literally Myra, because you have to get through her to get to Lily. So you can imagine the mental roller coaster. Through Stefano's battles, it was literally him like fucking with you, playing with you as a toy, like you're just a puppet to him because he cares about art. Father Theodore, literally the entire battles were guilt trips and just using Sebastian's past against him, so it was a constant like psychological fucking where you were literally just going through constant hell in the brain with this guy. And then Myra is literally like, you know, not really making amends through that, but you have to fight the person you love. So it's literally like Sebastian just on a constant fuckery this entire game. And but yet the whole story around each character, those, you know, there's though I felt like Stefano didn't really have a whole lot to him besides he was an artist, and how the fuck was he even in here to begin with? I think just because he was one person picked. I don't know if he was actually a member of STEM. I forgot what he was. But I liked, like, Stefano just kind of felt meh, where once he was done, Father Theodore and Myra's, like, the ideas of him really gripped me more. But, like, I was hanging on the edge of everything where I was like, man, I just can't believe it, you know? And, I don't know, just the way everything was told through each antagonist, because it was like, all right, it was somewhat, not simple, but it was like, all right, we got an idea of what we're doing. Stefano, take him down. Well, Stefano mentions there's this other guy. This other guy's trying to fuck with us because he's a silver-tongued son of a bitch, and he's trying to fuck with our minds, get us to join with him to help Lily, but he's literally just trying to use us like he's used everybody else. And then, like, you know, after that, it really opens up to, look, we got to get Lily, and you got to deal with Myra, and it's just crazy. I didn't mention it through the game, and I kind of skipped over it. We did get a partner, Esmeralda, I think was her name. She was a person that was an operative that actually took Lily away and started the fire. She was a demolition expert or some shit like that. Ex-military, I think, or was in the military. I don't know if I think she served her time in military before Mobius picked her up. But, you know, she did that, but this whole thing, as you're progressing through the game, gets a little more interesting, because then you start to find out, while in the battle with Father Theodore, Kidman is actually helping you. And, you know, I think, you know, I don't know, it was just, to me, all mind-boggling. And like I said, the story, it's just, you know, so many turns, but such great ways and great timings, I guess, for him. At least in my opinion, they were. You know, you're doing all this shit. You're constantly wondering to yourself, how are you getting out of here? How are you doing this? But then it's like, well, Kidman's actually on our side. And there are some signs of her actually meaning it. One of the early on scenes, I think, was, after you get a run-in with Stefano. I hope I'm saying that's his name. But then he gets away. And this is when you're going from Union to this other, like, crazy fuckery place. You see she kind of looks like she's gonna cry, or she's like really upset with Castellanos, because Sebastian says, oh, you just don't want your little project to fail. You can see she kind of, you know, is attached to this whole thing. She wants to stop him, so you're thinking maybe she does care, but we don't really know if she's actually on our side. if anything, we think maybe there's a chance we could persuade her that she can get the fuck away from Mobius. So, there's just still, like, in this point in time of the game, dealing with Father Theodore, so many questions still swirling of what the fuck are we going to do? And it's just crazy. And I know I've been rambling a lot, but there's just so much, like, I just thoroughly enjoyed the game. So, like, it's just a fun time. But I think I rambled on a little too long, and I think it's time we get to really the wrap up point of everything. This was supposed to kind of just be a short final thoughts, but I really have no idea how long this is going until I've rendered this. Um, but really, the entire story, everything was really awesome. I enjoyed it. The final boss fight was a bit frustrating, but it really wasn't that bad. It was actually not terribly bad. There were just patterns you had to figure out. It weren't difficult. It literally just came down to being able to shoot. I couldn't shoot. My aim is trash, and it pissed me off. It took about, like, I don't know, probably 15 times. But I cut it all out to the final one that actually worked um, against her. And the game always has a safety, I've noticed, which is nice. And what I mean by that is when I was battling O'Neill, when he got changed by Father Theodore, or Theodore, whatever the fuck you want to call him, I ran out of ammo. I was completely out of ammo in that fight. That one was more one of my frustrated battles but it kept me on edge of, oh god, I don't want to fucking die. Please don't die. This would really suck. Because I'd have to start this fight over. There were like two spots that ammo constantly kept spawning after I used all my ammo up. Once the ammo was out, there were these spots that just keep respawning. This final fight, when you were completely out of ammo again, little spider creatures came out of their stomach and you could stomp on them. And that would give you gunpowder or ammo, something to help you. One of the sad things I was kind of depressed about, well, I wasn't depressed about, I hate that it wasn't in because it was actually somewhat useful in the first one. But I guess they just didn't want to do it, or I don't know. That the burn feature that in the first one you could drop matches on just about anyone, whether they were on the ground or not, that was gone. And what I hated was, though there was the stomp feature, you couldn't just stomp on an enemy while they were just randomly on the ground sleeping or anything. It had to be by stunning them on the ground, shooting them, or fucking with them. So I didn't really care. Like, I was kind of upset about that, but whatever. Not much you can do about that. That's like one of the couple cons I've had with the game. Um, I did notice though, like I don't think I mentioned it, but in chapter 3 when I was doing some of the side mission stuff, um, there are some weird pacing issues, but they're not really issues. Um, you do go like in this big rope a dope with one or two of the side missions because it's like go all the way up here, come all the way back, go up there, and it was kind of annoying. But with it being a side mission that's already stopping your main story experience, it's not really doing a whole lot to affect you or the gameplay, and half the time the reward's usually worth it. Sucks that I didn't actually bother to kill the flamethrower guys and see if that was how I got the flamethrower built or find the parts. Would have been fun to try out the flamethrower, but so late in the game, I don't know. It felt like more like something I'd do in New Game Plus, if anything. But overall, though, I had a lot of fun with the game. Like I said, there was just the minor flaws. My aim sucked, so I got frustrated at times because of my aim being terrible. Um, there was I don't know. I guess that's just where the frustrating came from, and so being on a harder difficulty, needing to survive where every bullet counts, and just it was awful for me. But at the same time, I had a lot of fun. Made things really tense. I'll do like a pros and cons, I guess, for my final little wrap up. We'll talk about a couple pros that we've already talked about, but I'll just do it as a wrap up thing for the people who may just skip to the fucking end. Um, the pros, I like that the green gel were in perks. It was helping you actually like get skills or help your HP, things like that. It didn't affect your weapons. It didn't affect your stock. I actually like that you had to find pouches out in the world. If you use your little transmitter thing, you would find that shit, and it was pretty cool. Um, Having stealth kills around corner as a perk kind of was, you know, I mean, that's like in the middle. That's in the middle for me. It kind of sucks that that just wasn't a thing, but at least it was a thing. So, at least we got it. Because that was one of the things I was complaining about when I first started, I think. Or if not complained, it was what I was thinking about. Another pro, I guess, I could go through, just like, storytelling. Sebastian was much different, like way different in this than the first one. People didn't like that the first one that he had literally no personality. It's kind of hard, I guess, to for me to argue with that, um, because like, I mean, you're you're going through a fucked up place as it is. Like reality around you just all of a sudden stopped making sense in just a snap of a finger because you were put in STEM and STEM got fucked up while you were in there. I don't know. So it's like, how, how are you gonna have a lot of personality? I mean, he could have just became a screaming pussy the entire time, and that would have been annoying, right? So at least instead he was just like hardened cop detective that didn't talk much. But I guess with him not asking many questions and barely caring about the situation or not showing a whole lot of life to it, it did kind of suck. So it was nice to see that in this one he talked more, had a lot more emotion driven, and was very driven because he cares a lot about his daughter to even go through this hell to do it. Um, I'm trying to think. The pros were crafting. Just being able to make your bullets, whether on the fly or at the thing, pretty cool. I like that actually making it on the fly costs a bit more, so there's a risk at it, but possible reward if you can survive, I guess, if it's worth it. Mainly, it just came down to pick and choose your battles, things like that. And again, for a pro, the safeties. The game did have some implemented safeties to help me out or help anybody out. Like these little spider guys to give ammo, because if you suck at the game like I do and you miss a lot of shots, at least the game is like, here, look, you fucking suck, take this pity. It's like, thank you, game. Some of the negative parts, the AI, like I did mention at one point, a little weird. um, it was a little annoying to try to stealth kill guys at times, because I get that they're creatures and their erratic movement, but I always hated the like crazy erratic movement. I guess it's better than having predict. Well, they're it's hard to explain. Their movements were pretty predictable. It's just that at some times they would just change or do something crazier. They constantly did this left, right, look over here, and it's like, just come over to me. I threw a bottle, but they didn't always fucking come to it. They just freaked the fuck out. It felt like just throwing bottles for noises just did not fucking matter. But then again, that's just me. Um, may have worked better for others. Just for me, it didn't. I'm a guy like, I've been playing Assassin's Creed Origins, and I have a whistle button. I wanted something like that, like tap the car a little. I know there was a horn to honk and shit, but like bang the car if you can't whistle. Something to get them to just walk over to me. But I guess I just want the game to hold my hand, I guess, in certain situations to be helpful to me, where the game is supposed to be a bit punishing and not be so simple. So there was that, but also in the way of the AI being wonky and very exploitable at times, of just being able to like run around a corner, stealth kill, run around a corner, get a stealth kill, because like for that brief moment in the snap of a finger, they lost you. They, oh, where'd he go? Oh, dead. So it was very exploitable once you got the stealth kill perk that you could, or like the corner kill perk for the stealthing, that it was very simple. Um, so there was that. Overall, I mean, I think really it was just the wonky AI, um, that really did it for me. Like that was like the one like negative thing, because the storytelling was very interesting. I stuck on, like, I just constantly wanted to progress and see what was going to happen further and further we go. The gameplay was entertaining enough to keep me playing, even through frustrations. I think I would have given a higher rating if I played on normal, but at the same time, I probably would keep it the same, because if I got too many bullets in this normal mode, I probably would have been like, what the hell was the point? You have all this craft, I could literally carry a fucking arsenal. But I don't know. It depends on how easy it would have been. But the story was great. The gameplay, great. Besides the AI not being so great, the sounds in the game, the atmosphere was very awesome. Keeping that creepy theme like it was in the first one. even with it being a semi-open world, because like I said, there are some times where it's kind of linear. There might be open in the sense of there's different ways to approach situations, but at the same time, there were just parts where we're in a tunnel and it's linear. Like, where else are you going in here? And there weren't many side missions, but I'm not looking for an RPG questing game for this. They did it in right amounts, and I think it just worked out very, very well. Um, and like I said, like, the gameplay was fun enough to where I wanted to keep progressing because I wanted to see what's in store for it. Um, and when I started the game, and it's funny, I might be the only guy who's like that, but when the start of the game, you're like, what could, not what could go wrong, but like, all right, I'm ready for this shit fest. But as you progress through the game, you start to get those questions in your mind of like, how are you really getting the fuck out of this, And it's, you know, Mobius gonna fuck you over, There's just so many questions, like, what could be the outcome at this game? The story was so crazy, like, to some people, predictable. Yeah, I know, because once you start to get that Kidman is helping, yeah, predictable on what might happen, but anything could happen in the snap of a finger that could be unpredictable, predictable. Um, so to me, I really couldn't predict much. My thoughts on the ending were literally like, I thought that um, something was going to happen where we had to get rid of, Lily would be the bad person, like, we would actually have to end her, but in a demon form, because killing a kid would be drive everyone fucking nuts in a video game. I know it's wrong. I'm just saying it would go nuts, and if that was the case, I would have heard about it. But even no matter how in the dark I've been, people would have been flipping the fuck out about that. Even though she was set on fire in the beginning. So I was expecting something like that. They sent us in to pretty much kill our own daughter and then fuck us over. Um, like something like that, or you know, we do all this to save it just to be pull away from her, and they would like use their powers to just throw us somewhere else or stick us in STEM or in hell, or we die saving her. And there were just so many like negative outcomes. Like, there's so many ways that this could be like bad. But I was actually surprised by the ending. It was not predictable to me to see it be like a happy-ish ending. Um, Besides the final cutscene of like, oh, it's not. I mean, I don't get why we didn't just burn the place, try to blow it up, do something with it. Kind of just left it operational. I mean, if if Rurik or anybody is like with that same mindset of him, or anybody who knows about this shit, hell, even Kidman could come back and be like, you know what, I had a change of heart. I want to fucking do this thing. Like, it's there, and it's not completely shut down. So, hell, who knows? Myra might still be alive. I do want to see like another, some more story with Sebastian, or even Lily, I guess, or Kidman. Like, I'd like to keep that arc going, but I feel like if they did it, it might be a little overdone. Like, what other reason would Sebastian go into this hell for a third time? The only reason is if, oh, Myra's alive because she's the core and it came back online. She's still alive in there, and there's a way to save her. I don't think that's how that works, and they would have to figure out how to fucking make that one work. But like, so I think at this point we might just see a different arc. I don't know. I really don't know what the people with Bethesda and everybody else that make this game will do. It's it's all left in question. They hint that there's a possible third, but what arc and what story are we gonna go with? Who will it be? Who knows? Um, I did miss some of the photo slides in the game. There were a handful, and I missed like two. If I gotten the I think missed three. I don't know. If I gotten all of them up to the end, there would have been a cut scene where Tatiana gives me one, and it would be talking about Joseph. If you didn't know it or see that, or you guys missed it, Joseph is apparently alive. Kidman tells it, and then she's like, "This is a conversation for another time, Sebastian." And sadly, I don't think ever get that conversation, but it is told that he is alive in the game. Whether that's DLC or maybe that's what they're going to hint at is down the line they're going to be like, hey, guess what? We're going to play as Joseph and show you how he's alive and what he's been fucking up to. Who knows? Like I said, the game is just... I don't know. I'm just rambling. I know. I'm not great at these. had these whole review things trying to talk about the game. I'll probably, if I do another final thoughts thing on these games, I'll probably just keep it short and sweet to where I'll do like, a little bit of talking about the gameplay and stuff like that, and just wrap it up there. I kind of started to review story and everything like that, but it's first time for everything, right? But overall, I said it on the end of the last video of Evil Within, and I'll say it in this. I give it an 8.5, 8 to 8.5. Some frustrations, um, you know, here and there. But again, on my playability, like when I played it, was not so great. Some parts I felt like were a little too punishing and a little rough in it around times. Certain enemies were a little bit ridiculous to deal with. The crawling guys were kind of fucking annoying. I hated them. Like, granted, probably really easy, but like you couldn't run half the time away from them. It was hard to avoid them, and you couldn't even stealth kill them. So that just sucked. Because I think unstealth killable enemies is kind of bullshit. If not kill them, at least stealth wound. So it's like, all right, I get an advantage to start this fight. Um, but yeah, that and the wonky AI at times and exploitable AI, which helped and still a negative effect for the game. Overall, it's 8.5 because great story, great gameplay. I think the pacing was on point for the most part. You did a lot of shit, kept yourself tense, just dealing with so much shit till all of a sudden, just like here you are, you get rewarded with more story and more shit going on. It just like the first one. I was constantly like tense and focused. I've had my frustrations, I had my moments, but like for the most part, I had a fantastic time with it, and I'm glad to have gotten to sit down for October to have played the first one and to sit down and then get to play the second one right after. It's a little weird to make the transition from all of this to like Assassin's Creed and all that because literally all of October was like survival horror stuff. So I'm glad I got to sit down and play this and stream it, show it with you guys. I'm not gonna say like game of the year contender. Like I really don't know. I'm bad with all that stuff because again, I haven't played any of the other games. Um, but this game definitely hit the nail on the head for a really good survival horror. And I hope that people who do make survival horror games can kind of take note of this. I know Resident Evil 7, I didn't get to play it, but I heard a lot of good things, and I did watch a bit on that. I know they did things very well with that one, too. Like, you can make a survival horror game with shooting, action, and stuff like that if done right. Not overly done like Resident Evil 5 and 6, but to where there's a good atmosphere, creep factor. It doesn't have to be a jump scare every 2 seconds. It can just be tense and horrifying to battle something and see a freaky monster coming at you. Like, they just do it right. And that was one of the things that I worried about when coming into this game was how bad is this going to flop? How is this little open world customize your Sebastian? Because that's what I heard about. You can customize Sebastian to your playstyle, whether you want to be more action, things like that. Now, granted, it's not as easy as what it sounds like. You could be more action, but you might be fucked. Stealth seems to be, like I said, a main factor in this. But like I said, I had a lot of fun. And that's what I was worried about was this game going to be fun? And that's also why I was afraid to play the harder difficulty. It's not the hardest, but the hard difficulty. Being someone who's streaming it and recording it, I worry constantly. Like, I don't want to get stuck on something forever. It's easy to play by yourself with no one watching or just without ever having the footage and fuck up, fail over and over. Who cares? If you can have fun with it, whatever. But when I'm doing it and it halts progress, especially with how close we were at the end, I mean, that's it does get a little frustrating and annoying. That's even though I'm a guy who's played Dark Souls on stream all the way through and died a shit ton. It's like, I don't know. When the game isn't Dark Souls, it's suddenly frustrating because it's like it's not expected to be this difficult, even though I'm on this hard difficulty. But I don't know. I have a weird way of thinking about things, I guess, and seeing things. But like I said, final review for me, 8.5 out of 10. Just just overall, it was such a fun game to play in October, and I'm glad. I don't know. I I'm trying to think besides the first two Dead Spaces, I wasn't I don't know. I mean I wasn't really super tense with those games as much, but I don't know. It's just this one, something about this game. It's just really well done for me. I just really enjoyed it, and enough, at least well enough to where I would actually do a final thoughts video. I felt like doing this because literally we have a lot of 2017 games released on October, and I might even do one for Assassin's Creed when I beat that, and be short and sweet with that one though, because that game's probably going to be a bit long. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys enjoyed the game. If you picked it up and played it yourself, or if you watched the playthrough, let me know, I guess, in the comments what you guys think of the game, pros, cons, what your rating is of it. I know that some people may not be their cup of tea, so they may not found it that great. I'm kind of a sucker for this type of survival horror style games at times, because I was a big Resident Evil fan, like the originals, and even up until 4. And just like I said, I also enjoyed the shit out of the first one. It's just this is just great, and it's not perfect. Like I said, it's not there. It's hard for me to see a game as perfect because I do see some flaws, and this one did have some of them. But overall, a gorgeous game, even for just the standard playing on PS4. It looked great, played great. There were some frame hiccups, wonky AI, frustrating moments, a little too punishing. Certain parts that, felt a little overdone. Certain, like, O'Neill boss fight was a little too bullet spongy. But overall, maybe it's because I didn't shoot him in the head enough, probably. I probably shot more body shots and missed more than I think with that fight. But yeah, great time. I'll put it on my must buy, or not must buy, but at least a must play once. Whether you pay 60, 30, who knows? Bethesda's usually sometimes pretty good with sales, depending on the game. So you may, I could see it dropping in price within a couple months to a year. I don't know, pretty quickly. I don't know when games usually go on sale, but I could see this one dropping in price pretty fast, just because it's solely a single player game. Um, and there's not much, and even though there's a new game plus, there's not like a crazy amount of content after it yet. If there's any DLC to be announced, I don't know, but who knows? But thank you so much, guys, for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you think it was like kind of fair. I mean, like I said, I know I went too long on this. I kind of rambled, did a lot of shit that I probably made not a lot of sense. And like I said, the recording for the audio on my microphone sounds a bit weird, probably, or a little bit shittier. Like I said, it's just part of what I'm doing for this. Normally, I would just use OBS and record. It has all my mic settings saved. This does not. But thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. And like I said, leave a comment on what you thought about the game. And, what your final thoughts are. And pros and cons, things like that. What you thought. And what if you think possible game of the year for single player at least. If not that, do you think this game could win any certain awards? Do you think it could be an award-winning game in like a certain category? But you let me know in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.